Today, balmy with a capital B. We'll tell you all the details and the quick weather changes all within the next hour. Sally?
Andre, just for all this badgering, it's going to be bad. Wind chills today will be kind of nasty. Also tonight and tomorrow, we'll tell you about that. Also the coffee quiz coming up. You'll learn the meaning of a Russian word.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Sally.
Topping Sunrise, an apartment fire in Eagan forces residents out in the cold overnight.
Officials say the fire was started by a Christmas tree that apparently had dried out. Residents of Bunker Hills apartments huddled in garages and cars and waited while firefighters cleared smoke out of the building. The fire was contained to one apartment on the lower level. Officials say the fire wasn't their only problem.
The major problem was getting people in out of the cold, and we've utilized our rescue vehicles and our command vehicle and neighboring buildings for that.
No one was injured, but one family is homeless this morning. They are staying with friends. The fate of Minneapolis police officer Linnell Johnson is still unknown. Johnson is one of several officers accused of illegal drug use. A hearing was held for Johnson yesterday. The information presented by Johnson's attorney will be taken under advisement, and Deputy Chief Bob Lutz will make a recommendation to Chief Tony Boza Monday. Johnson faces possible dismissal. Police now say the drug probe is over and only paperwork needs to be completed. The Minneapolis City Council will meet today to decide how to proceed with the revocation of the liquor license of a Hennepin Avenue bar. Police have been called to Moby Dick's more than any other bar in the city. A week ago, police showed off weapons recovered in a December 18th raid on Moby Dick's. Police officials recommended to the council that the liquor license be revoked as soon as possible. A final decision may not be made until mid-January.
After a year of testing, it was found that drinking water in 6 Minnesota communities contain radium levels that exceed federal standards. Water in Savage, Newmarket, and Jordan has unacceptable levels of radium in it. Other cities were also told their water violates federal laws, including Howard Lake, Cortland, and Elin in southwestern Minnesota. High doses of radium can cause bone cancer. The levels detected are low, even though they're above federal standards. Residents of Howard Lake say they're somewhat concerned and are taking a wait-and-see attitude. Some residents, like the Lumen family, are drinking mostly bottled water. They're concerned because the long-term effects of using the water are unknown.
That's why I started buying the bottled water. So I thought, for us, it probably isn't that big a thing, but for kids, you know, over extended period of time.
A bill has passed the House of Representatives setting aside $10 million for radium cleanup. That bill is pending in the Senate. This type of radium is what's called naturally occurring, coming from the Earth's rocks and minerals.
Two prestigious buildings in St. Paul are about to be sold. The St. Paul Port Authority's stake in the Amhoist Tower and the St. Paul Hotel will be purchased by Greenpeace Acceptance, a Fortune 500 company. The Port Authority repossessed the 25-story Amhoist building in 1983. The St. Paul Hotel is one of only 4 four-star hotels in the state. The sale is expected to be approved January 26th. The noise problems at last year's St. Paul Riverfest will be discussed by the City Council today. News 11's Carolyn Marinan has more in our City Council preview.
The noise problems at last year's Riverfest could be a hot topic at today's St. Paul City Council meeting. The new plan for St. Paul's annual Summer Music Festival and Carnival on Harriet Island will set up some new rules. Those rules could cut down on noise complaints. Maximum decibel levels will be set for all stages and monitored continually. The main stage will be raised above ground level and special curtains and sound barriers built behind the stages and speakers. The main stage will end all performances at 10:30 p.m. during the week and 11 o'clock on the weekends. All other stages will close at 11 during the week and 11:30 on the weekends. Music for carnival rides and public address systems will have to be shut off at 10 o'clock each night. Last year, over 250,000 people attended Riverfest during the 10-day event. The City Council should also give the final approval to the new taxicab licensing plan. The new plan lifts the odometer limit on cabs in the city. In the past, St. Paul cabs had a 50,000-mile limit no matter how old they were. Cabs will now have to pass a safety inspection at the Fire and Police Equipment Garage and cannot be more than 5 model years old. For Sunrise, Carolyn Marinan, News 11.
The council is also expected to go ahead with plans to return to a committee system and a permanent council president. Council members are also talking about cutting back on their meetings. And the council is also expected to look at switching to a biennial budget and also imposing a city spending gap.
Officials of the St. Paul Winter Carnival say once again warm temperatures and too little snow are causing problems. A giant pile of snow sits on Harriet Island, where officials eventually plan to build a 60-foot-high snow volcano. Warm weather has prevented any daytime snowmaking and has permitted evening snowmaking on only 6 nights. But workers are confident temperatures will plunge the next month so they can finish the structure by January 25th.
And speaking of plunging temperatures,
they don't have to wait till next month. Today will be good enough. Actually, later on tonight, as a cold front comes through, some bitterly cold air will be coming in, and it's cold air that we haven't seen really yet this season. Right now, it's on the mild side, but still very windy out there, and that makes it feel raw. So, of course, we've put Andre outside. Andre, how does it feel?
Oh, you know, we do have the wind, but the building is blocking off the south wind this morning, so we're in good shape here in the backyard. But other places, as mentioned, the wind chill is down there. You'll have to bundle up, but if you think it's bad this morning, just wait 24 hours. From now, it will be very, very windy and very cold. You can see our bunny is still buried, but I think he's going to get knocked over tomorrow with the wind. Let's see what's happening around the Twin Cities. We have Jaffa, just a few clouds around. Current Twin Cities temperature is 19 degrees. We have a southeast wind at 3 miles per hour, 13 with a wind chill of 3 below, and the pressure is on the way down. Here is today's Weather Couple Coffee Quiz question. What is zastrugi? That's a Russian word. What is zastrugi? Is it A, ice formed by a waterfall? B, another term for tsunami, which is the tidal wave formed by earthquakes? Is it C, wind ripples on fresh snow cover? Or is it D, snow that looks like fettuccine? Gosh, you know, I should have said snow that looks like lasagna. Well, that's a whole different story. Sally, do you have any cement for this guy? Because I really think he's going to use it. You're going to need to use it.
Need some cement?
Yeah. Well, yesterday he got
paste him down,
buried.
huh? Paste him down.
We're going to have to do something because both of these guys are going to get knocked over, I think, today and tonight, especially tonight.
They're going to be cold, too. Wind chills are going to be right down
there. You can say that again.
Right now, temperatures are actually on the mild side. They're in the 20s, but that wind doesn't make it feel quite as nice as Andre was saying. Wind chill is below 0 this morning. Clouds pushing off towards the east. I think we will have some sunshine this morning ahead of a cold front. Now, this cold front will be coming through this evening, and as it does, temperatures will plunge tonight into the upper teens and even farther tomorrow into the single digits. You can see how cold the air is behind that front right now. 17 degrees in Bismarck, 11 over near Miles City in Montana. Winter storm watch in effect for tonight right across the southern, I'll say third of Minnesota. This does not include the Twin Cities. Winter storm watch across southern Minnesota, northern sections of Iowa, and portions of South Dakota. As the storm develops and comes through, a difference in the track of 50 to 100 miles will make a big difference in where the snow falls. Here's the way we see it right now. Twin Cities today, increasing cloudiness, high temperature up around 30 degrees, but it won't feel that warm because it will be so windy. Later on tonight, though, as the cold front goes through, dropping down to 13, those wind chills will be well below 0. We'll have periods of snow, and I think we'll see a few inches of accumulation in the Twin Cities. For tomorrow, it's going to be nasty, high of 13 degrees. That occurs early in the day, and then temperatures falling into the single digits. We will have a little afternoon sun, but it won't help at all. It's going to be cold.
The 13 itself doesn't sound that bad, but it's those wind chills that are really gonna hurt.
It's the wind that's going to make it feel very bad.
Okay, thanks, Sally. With 1987 coming to a close, we're taking time to review some of our top stories of the year. This morning, meteorologist Dennis Falcon reports on the top weather stories of 1987.
Winter in the Midwest. Snow, ice, wind, and cold. The kind of weather that breeds stories of survival told over and over to our children and grandchildren. So what are we saying about the winter of '87? Most of it felt like early spring. Temperatures ran 5 to 10 degrees above normal, with only 17.4 inches of snow falling, one of the lowest in Twin Cities history.
So what happened? Well, we can blame the upper winds, that fast-moving river of air that circles the globe and steers around our weather systems.
In a typical winter, they look like this, allowing wet air from the south to combine with cold air from the north, creating those cold, snowy days in the Midwest. But for much of the winter of '87, those upper winds were split, trapping the cold air to the north and the wet air to the south. That left the Midwest warm and dry. The unusual heat and lack of moisture carried into spring, too. It gave Minnesota and Wisconsin one of its worst droughts in memory. Brush fires had become an everyday event through the tinder dry brush. Farmers were especially hard hit, and hay was brought in from the south to help feed livestock. The drought broke in the Twin Cities with the arrival of the superstorm on July 23rd. The rest of the region is still dry as we head into 1988, and another winter like last year could be a disaster. Dennis Feltgen, News 11.
Won't have too many weather records this weekend in terms of cold temperatures.
I would have taken another winter like last winter, but
me too.
Guess not.
Not this time around. Next on Sunrise, the dollar has a stable night in overseas trading.
And how you can cut your tax bill with year-end donations. Stay with us.
Kids get their toys at Christmas. Adults have to wait until Highland's year-end markdown sale.
Hey, Highland doesn't open for hours.
It's a wondrous time for good little grown-ups when Highland marks down everything to the lowest prices of the year.
Wow.
Like this 13-inch portable color TV with automatic fine-tuning, just $117.
Just look at their faces.
Highland's year-end markdown, now through December 31st.
Good thing this only comes once a year.
Burnsville Nissan wants you to know 1987 isn't over yet. Don't let the after-Christmas cold winter temperatures keep you from making the hottest deal in Minnesota from your affordable car store. Look what I mean. A brand new 1988 Nissan Sentra or this brand new 1987 Nissan pickup. You take your choice. Look at that. 66 down, 136 a month or low, 68.66. Come on into Burnsville Nissan. We're open all day New Year's to make a deal with you. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Paul Majors. This week on KARE 11, we're talking about Courage Center, the people it serves and how you can help. We're looking at programs like aquatic therapy for stroke survivors and arthritis patients, home modification for disabled people living on their own, and how technology and traditional therapy help people with speech and hearing impairments. Operators are standing by at the station this week, waiting to take your pledge. Please open your heart during this season of giving by calling 593-9211.
Sunrise time is 6:13. A leading business information company predicts inflation will be higher next year. Standard & Poor's predicts consumer prices will go up 4.5% to 5%. This year's increase has been about 4.5%. Higher prices are expected for natural gas, airfares, health care, and food.
The dollar has stabilized a bit on the foreign currency markets, and Kara King is here now with that story and more. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning, John. Well, the dollar ended the session unchanged in Tokyo overnight at 123.50 yen. Japan's central bank and several other large banks have bought dollars during the last 24 hours to prop up the currency. The Federal Reserve was reportedly among the banks which tried to stop the dollar's slide. Well, at this hour in Europe, the dollar is slightly higher at 123.63 yen. Gold in Europe is steady at $486.75 an ounce. And on Wall Street during the last session, the Dow lost more than 16 points to close at 1926.89, volume 111 million shares. Our series on year-end tax tips continues this morning. Steve Crowley says that making last-minute charitable donations can mean tax breaks for you.
One man's junk is another man's treasure, often a tax break to boot. Donating things to charity now, old clothes, furniture, books, appliances, almost anything useful before New Year's is a smart last-minute tax move with a small catch.
For 1987, we'll have to itemize on Schedule A to write off charitable contributions of cash or property on our 1040s. Hardly anything was sacred under tax reform. Last year, it didn't matter if we itemized or not.
At this late date in 1987, gifts to qualified, bona fide charities are among the easiest tax breaks around. Of course, they're always ready and willing to take cash. Write a check now before New Year's, even for next year's pledge. When we're giving property, we have to estimate the fair market value, what the item is really worth today. If it's worth more than $500, be sure to file Tax Form 8283. Always make a complete detail list of what you're giving, list a fair value for each item, get a receipt, and keep it all on file now. You're being generous, insist on the receipt.
I think most people are aware that Goodwill, being a nonprofit charitable organization, does give tax receipts. They are deductible for those people that do itemize.
Feeling really generous, giving property worth more than $5,000? You'll need an appraisal along with your Form 8283. Get it before April 15th. Now, the appraiser's fee is one of those miscellaneous deductions we can write off as long as they add up to more than 2% of our adjusted gross income.
It is better to give than receive. Did you donate your time to a qualified charity this year? Unreimbursed out-of-pocket expenses qualify for a deduction. Always count your mileage to and from the charity, worth 12 cents a mile. I'm Steve Crowley with your Money Report.
If you have any questions for Steve, you can send them to Box 111, Minneapolis 55440. In our business outlook this morning, home sales and the health of the economy. The Commerce Department will release its report on leading economic indicators for November. That's scheduled for 7:30. At 9, the Commerce Department will release figures on November home sales. Well, probably hasn't been the happiest of holidays for some Wall Street executives. A lot of them have lost their jobs in the last couple months. But there's two newspapers that want to do something to help their readers in New York. One is called Bond Buyer, and the other is this one, American Banker. Now, they wanted to do something to help out, so they've offered positions wanted advertising for 5 days for free. And the usual cost is $85.
Wow.
And also, the people who have lost their job, subscribers, will continue to receive the two newspapers for free for the next 3 months.
Well, it's a start anyway.
Yeah, a little bright spot.
Very nice. Yeah, thanks,
Okay,
Karen.
thanks, Karen. And still to come this morning on Sunrise, NASA has a new problem with the space shuttle.
We'll tell you about a political boy wonder in Wausau, Wisconsin.
How a farm leader thinks 1987 has been for farmers.
And how the Strikers worked their way to another win. The Striker streak, next in sports.
It's our last chance to make this the biggest year in our history at Towsley Subaru. It's your last chance for year-end discounts, clearly marked on every Subaru on every used car. Example, new Subaru four-wheel drive Justy, electric defrost, AM/FM radio, 5-speed, and many more options. Last week's sale priced for under $8,000. Over 150 new Subarus, $1 million worth of used cars. Everyone's sale priced and factory-to-you rebates up to $1,500. But only through Saturday, January 2nd at Towsley Subaru, White Bear Lake.
Ugh. Why can't I ever take decent pictures? Where did I go wrong?
Maybe to the wrong photo finisher. Look, if they gave you bum photos, ProX will fix them. Free. Bring us your most disappointing pictures plus their negatives and we'll reprint a few just to show you how much better ProX makes them look.
See, I can take decent pictures.
ProX. You won't be disappointed.
Maybe I should turn pro.
This is Nick Bockwinkel. New Year's Eve is coming. And don't celebrate New Year's Eve without a sparkling champagne from Chicago Lake Liquor. And as a special New Year's gift to you, Chicago Lake Liquor is offering 20% off by the bottle between now and December 30th. So shop early and save from the largest selection and the lowest prices I've ever seen at Chicago Lake Liquor on Lake Street across from Sears in Minneapolis.
The Vikings found a good luck charm at their headquarters when they showed up for practice yesterday. A giant fiberglass bull, complete with a sign and words of encouragement, was brought to the Vikings Eden Prairie complex by John Trigaseth. Trigaseth hauled the bull all the way from Motley, where it's well known as a good luck symbol.
Are you freelancing now, Amy?
Looks more like you, John.
Well, it seems Mother Nature wasn't the only opponent the Strikers overcame.
And, you know, back to that bull.
Trying to change the subject.
Better leave that bull alone.
You know, they probably eat that much meat in one training table meal, don't they? Yes, speaking of the Strikers, considering what the Strikers went through to get to last night's game at Baltimore, one wonders how they managed to muster up enough energy to beat the Blast. Now, the Strikers were stuck in Detroit Monday for 9 hours because of a snowstorm. They finally arrived at their hotel in Baltimore about 3 o'clock yesterday morning. Obviously tired, but that helps explain why last night's 6-5 win over Baltimore means so much to the guys this morning. The guys don't have long to enjoy it, though, because tonight they entertain the Los Angeles Lasers at Met Center. Strikers spotted Baltimore the early lead last night before they settled down and went to work. Hector Marinero had 2 goals for the Strikers, this one from a sharp angle to make it 5-2, and the rout was on, or so it seemed. A couple of minutes later, little man Stan Cummins got credit for a big goal as his shot deflected in off a Baltimore player. At that point, it was 6-3, but the Strikers had to hold off a late fourth-quarter surge by Baltimore, and they go on to beat the Blast 6-5 for their 3rd straight win. The North Stars skate back into action tonight, looking for their 2nd straight win. They play at Chicago tonight and then host the Blackhawks in a rematch tomorrow night at Met Center. In the NHL Tuesday night, Montreal, behind 2 goals from Bobby Smith, beat Vancouver 4-1. Quebec topped Buffalo 5-1. Boston and the Penguins tied, as did the Rangers and New York Islanders. At Met Center last night, Jefferson rallied to beat Minnetonka to win the championship of the Edina Hockey Classic. Skippers built up a 2-0 lead thanks to a pair of goals by Tim Haynes. Down 2-1 now, the top-ranked Jaguars came storming back with 3 third-period goals. Doug Lindahl got the game winner right there on the breakaway as Jefferson comes from behind to beat Minnetonka 4-3. In the consolation game of that tournament, Edina knocked off Belmont Hill of Boston 2-1 in overtime. Other high school hockey games, Stillwater beat Blake 6-2. Armstrong over South St. Paul. It was Hibbing topping Osseo 4-1. Roseau knocked off Anoka 3-2, and Hill-Murray knocked off the Rochester Rockets, John Marshall Rockets 5-4. In that game, Rochester John Marshall jumped out to the early lead. Steve Williams will get the goal on the backhand to make it 2-1 in favor of the visiting Rockets from John Marshall. But Hill-Murray fought back to win this game. Brent Sergid's second period goal from the blue line pushed the Pioneers out in front. Here comes the goal. There it is. 3-2 was the score at that point, and they went on to win it by the score of 5-4. The Gopher basketball team puts their 4-game winning streak on the line tonight as they host Grambling College in another non-conference test at Williams Arena. Tip-off set for 7 o'clock. Big Ten teams in action Tuesday night. Indiana took care of Stanford. Purdue beat Wake Forest. Michigan with a big win over South Florida. It was Northwestern over Northern Arizona. And Illinois State upset the Hawkeyes 89-88. In boys action at the Hamlin tournament, Central beat Richfield to advance to the finals. The Central Minutemen in red used some heads-up defense to steal the ball. Juliad Hughes gets it here and popped it in for 2 of his 19 points on the night. Richfield led during the first half. Drew Davis led the Spartan attack on the night with 14 points, but they couldn't hold off Central in the second half as they rallied to win it 75-60. So Central will meet Minneapolis North in tonight's championship game. And some notes now. The Detroit Tigers have re-signed pitcher Jack Morris to a 2-year deal worth close to $4 million. Georgia beat Arkansas 20-17 in the Liberty Bowl thanks to a field goal as time ran out. And Tommy Kramer is back as the Vikings starting quarterback. TK got the nod to replace Wade Wilson for Sunday's NFC wildcard game at New Orleans. But Coach Jerry Burns makes no bones about it that Wade Wilson could go back in for Kramer if Kramer doesn't do well.
Hurt or
well,
whatever.
It gets hurt or it doesn't do well, or if they need a little emotional lift or something. So I would see both quarterbacks, I think, will be in action.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep. Today is Wednesday, December 30th, and on this day 5 years ago, the Metrodome deflated.
The roof was ripped open accidentally while work crews were cleaning snow off it. The opening grew as the torn section flapped back and forth in the wind. Inside the stadium, only a few seats, lights, and a speaker were damaged. The tear was repaired within a few days. And also on this day, the United States completed the Gadsden Purchase. In 1853, the U.S. bought 45,000 square miles of land from Mexico. The deal was engineered by James Gadsden. The area became the southern part of Arizona and New Mexico. And in 1936, the United Auto Workers Union staged its first strike at the Fisher Body Plant in Flint, Michigan.
And special birthday greetings go out this morning to a member of our Sunrise staff. News 11 Sunrise reporter Carolyn Marinan turns 27 today. We wish her a very happy birthday. She shares the spotlight with a couple of other monkeys who were born on this day. Michael Nesmith is 45 and Davy Jones is 42. We'll be right back after we hear from the monkeys.
There's only one day left for your Chrysler Plymouth dealer Super 7 sale. Get our best savings ever on our most popular 87 Chryslers. 7/7 financing plus 770 cash back plus 770 protection. What's super savings? 7/7 financing plus 770 cash back. It's our final sale of the year. Hurry, because it's 6 p.m. December 31st. It's all over.
Hurry in today to the Super 7 sale at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Somewhere in all these dusty law books, a great idea got lost. The idea that law is for people, and people should be able to afford it. At Hyatt Legal Services, we took the fear out of legal fees. You can consult with one of our lawyers for just $20. And for cases like divorce, wills, accidents, and bankruptcy, we tell you our fee up front. I'm Joel Hyatt, and you have my word on it. We took the fear out of legal fees across the country and in your neighborhood.
Head-to-head,
side by side, one-on-one. The all-new 88 Bigfoot, plus 11 of the country's wildest monster trucks, trampling their way through St. Paul Civic Center Arena, January 8th and 9th, as Chevrolet presents the Stroh's Monster Truck Winter Nationals. 12 motorized giants, plus ATV racing, part of the Redman TNT Motorsports Series. Tickets at the box office and area Dayton's department stores.
Call The Connection for all your winter needs. The Connection has listings for ski areas and snow tubing, snowmobiles, and listings of shops with all the clothing and equipment you need for these activities. We also have listings for businesses selling snow blowers, shovels, and other winter necessities, as well as for services such as snow plowing and snow removal. Remember, The Connection is a free call, and our operators can directly connect you to the business you need. Give us a call. Operators are on duty 7 days a week.
The time now, 6:26.
And Sally says this morning's temperatures are going to feel warm to what it's going to be like coming up.
This morning is warm compared to later on tonight. Compared to tomorrow, we'll be in the single digits tomorrow, and that's some cold air that we really haven't seen yet. Overnight, we've been below zero, but that's on a clear, cold, calm night. Tomorrow, it's going to be windy. It's just going to be bitterly cold. Right now, let's check in, see what's going on outside with Andre.
Well, not much today, but just wait till tomorrow. We'll be on a downhill trek all the way into tonight and tomorrow. Even tomorrow, we're not going to see temperatures that are rising. They'll be falling all day long, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see our Weather Couple Coffee Quiz box blow away tomorrow morning. Right now, we're going to pick out our contestant in the coffee quiz, and we'll show you our question one more time. But first of all, here's what's happening in the Twin Cities. We have JAFCA. Just a few clouds around. That's what it stands for. The temperature is 19 degrees. The winds are southeast at 13 miles per hour. Our wind chill down to 3 below. So it is chilly this morning, but not as chilly as what's coming up, and the pressure is on the way down. Here is this morning's Weather Couple Coffee Quiz question. This is a German word, or a Russian word. What is zastrugi? Is it ice formed by a waterfall? Is it another term for a tsunami? Is it wind ripples on a fresh snow cover? Or is it snow that looks like fettuccine or lasagna? We'll have an answer coming up shortly. And for those of you that never miss sunrise and never miss the Weather Couple, we want you to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is a very, very special day for the Weather Couple.
You bet. Something coming up different tomorrow.
That's right, and we'll have details coming up then.
Okay.
You got to watch tomorrow.
In the meantime, we'll show you that there is not a whole lot going on across the country. A very little bit of rain and snow scattered in the west. Also a little bit of snow, leftover snow in the higher sections of Pennsylvania. A big storm has exited the east coast after dumping huge amounts of snow on Cape Cod, and that's something those folks aren't used to. It's gone. You can't even see it on the satellite picture anymore. What we are concerned with is more developing storms in the west. We have a little patch of clouds coming through us this morning. There will be more later on this afternoon, I think especially towards the evening hours, as this storm comes out of the Rockies. We could possibly see a little bit of freezing drizzle during the evening hours. I think that would be pretty patchy. It will change over quickly to snow as the temperature drops. Right now, we're in the warm air ahead of that cold front, winds pumping out of the southwest, bringing temperatures up into the 20s. It doesn't look so bad, but with that wind cranking out of the southwest, wind chills are low. They'll be lower as the colder, drier air comes in behind that cold front. Winter storm watch is in effect for the very southern portion of Minnesota. This does not include the Twin Cities, but I think we will get a couple inches of snow as the cold air comes in. Here's the map for later on this afternoon. The clouds come in today. Again, maybe a little patchy freezing drizzle, and then snow later on tonight. Here's our forecast for today. An increase in the cloudiness, high temperature about 30 degrees, but it's going to feel on the raw side with those stiff winds. Later on tonight, temperatures dropping to 13 degrees. The wind chill will be well below zero. We'll have periods of snow, and it should accumulate to a couple inches here in the Twin Cities, possibly just a little bit more. The outlook for tomorrow calls for a blustery, frigid day. High of 13 occurs during the morning hours. Temperatures falling into the single digits later in the day. It will be windy and just bitterly cold. Friday, some snow coming in late on Friday, 23 degrees. Saturday, cold sunshine, 17, and more cold sunshine on Sunday. Temperatures going up to near 20 degrees. Coming up, we'll have a look at the wind chills that are out there this morning. They're not pretty. They'll be getting worse. John?
Thanks, Sally. In our headlines this morning, an apartment fire that was started by a Christmas tree forced residents out in the cold overnight. Residents found warm cover in garages and cars. Fire crews were called to the Bunker Hills apartments in Eagan around 3 this morning. The fire was contained to one apartment. Officials say the Christmas tree had dried out. No one was hurt, but one family is homeless. Moby Dick's, the Hennepin Avenue bar, will come under scrutiny today before the Minneapolis City Council. The council will decide how to proceed with the revocation of Moby Dick's liquor license. A week ago, police displayed weapons recovered in a December 18th raid at Moby Dick's. A final decision may not be made until mid-January. The nation's top farm official says 1987 was a good year for farmers. Amy is with farm editor Les Heen, who will tell us about it. Amy?
Thanks, John. I guess that's no surprise. They had a good harvest this year, and things have gone fairly well with weather.
A lot of things tended to pick up for them. There were, of course, areas such as northwestern Wisconsin where weather caused some problems, but overall the financial situation looked pretty good for most of the year. And in a year-end review of farming, Ag Secretary Richard Ling says most farmers are better off than they were a year ago. Among the 1987 improvements, Ling includes exports, which are starting to recover after sliding for several years, and smaller stockpiles of grain, which should help raise prices. Ling also says production costs are lower, and that's helped increase net farm income. And also farmland values are firmer than they were a year ago. But Ling also described a few problems farmers still have. He said 12% are still struggling with heavy debts, and 22% still have low incomes. Many farmers are battling debts built up during the boom of the 70s. For next year, Ling predicts farm income will be about as high as it is this year, or perhaps slightly lower. He also said he'd like to reduce the cost of government farm programs. It'll cost more to ship grain on some major railroads starting January 1st. Both Soo Line and Burlington Northern plan to raise their rates 4.2%. That raise will be for grain and other farm products. The companies say they need the increase to keep up with inflation, and a spokesman for Burlington Northern says 80% of the increase will cover higher labor costs. Soybean futures rallied on the Chicago Board of Trade thanks to higher demand for soybean meal. The January contract was up 6 1/4 to finish at $5.99 1/2. March corn fell 1 1/4 to hit 186 1/2. March wheat was 3/4 cent higher at $3.09 a bushel. In Minneapolis, March wheat closed at $2.91 1/2. That was up 1. A crisis help program for farmers has been extended for another 2 years. President Reagan assigned a 2-year extension to the Rural Crisis Recovery Act. The program provides $3 million for education and counseling for financially strapped farmers. And another breed of cattle might be added to the Agriculture Department's official list of registered breeds. The department has proposed adding the Cimbra Association to its roster of breed associations. There are now about 60 associations on that roster. Cimbra cattle are a cross between Simmental and Brahman. And of course, Amy, we've been talking about cattle all week because of, remember this one?
Oh,
Cosmopolitan.
How could I forget it?
Well, we showed the centerfold yesterday, and we showed a few other things. Now we should take a look at one of the ads based on the Diamonds Are Forever campaign. You have Diamonds Are for Heifers, with the saying, if you can't spend 2 months' salary on something that will probably last a lifetime, just what kind of a cheapskate are you marrying? And the credit for all this, we should mention, goes to a guy who grew up in Canada on a dairy farm named Thomas Hagee.
It is really a lot of fun. There's some cute things in there.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Thanks a lot, Les. Still ahead on Sunrise, meet one of the youngest politicians in Wisconsin, a high school senior running for mayor. We'll be right back.
It's our after Christmas sale, and it's going on right now. I want to let you know we're going to be open all day New Year's Day here at the Affordable Car Store, the all-new Southview Chevrolet Jeep right here in Denver Grove Heights, and only $44 delivers. Take a look at this brand new 88 Chevrolet Cavalier, $44 down, $174 a month, or $79.44. And we're only 5 minutes east of the airport on 494 to Robert Street. The all-new Southview Chevrolet Jeep. Give us a call, 451-2211.
Welcome. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath dream castle. Come on in for a tour. Step down, it's a sunken living room with a vaulted ceiling. And up there is a master suite with a balcony overlooking the living room. This is the family area. Large kitchen with custom cabinets and a big breakfast area.
To enter the KARE 11 Dream Castle giveaway, buy your Winter Carnival button at local 7-Elevens and Tom Thumb stores and send in your official entry form.
All nestled right here in Maplewood. It's going to be fabulous.
Hello, I'm Kirsten Lindquist. When you're disabled, looking for housing is not simply choosing style, location, and price. Accessibility, comfort, and safety take on even more importance. Courage Center's home modification program can help. It can be as basic as adding grab bars or as complex as major renovation or new construction. The main goal of the program is to help people lead independent lives. Please make your Courage Center pledge now. Call 593-9211.
You know, microchips were really rad until superconductors came along.
Yeah, and the space shuttle was super bad until space colonies.
Yep, and the Ice Palace of '86 was totally awesome until the volcano of 1988.
Before this awesome event becomes a memory, you can buy an exclusive 1988 Winter Carnival pin featuring the magnificent volcano. Simply everyone is wearing one. Get yours exclusively from the Boy Scouts.
I'll trade you 10 Saturn rocks for that pin.
No way, dude.
In for Kids' Sake this morning, the final count is in for the Toys for Tots drive. John is with April Yeager and Jerry Hall with the results. John?
Thanks, Amy. We've all been following the Toys for Tots program for some time, and based on the number of toys that were in the studio alone, I imagine
we did very well.
Good.
It was a great year for the Toys for Tots campaign. A record 117,000 toys were collected and handed out to needy kids around the state this Christmas. At the News 11 studios, 66,000 toys were collected. Donations from local businesses and individuals helped make this year's campaign a big success, and we'd like to thank everyone for their participation.
In Minneapolis, area school kids came together to promote peace. Dozens of grade schoolers gathered at the Lake Nokomis Community Center to cut and paste their drawings on world peace. The Paint for Peace project is part of an annual observance sponsored by Peace is Possible Now. The mayor race in Wausau, Wisconsin will be an interesting one this spring, thanks to the hard work of a West High School senior. This morning, Wisconsin Bureau reporter Eric Olson introduces us to Rick Thomas, who at 18 years of age has become the teenager's candidate.
And they went
Rick Thomas and Scott Urbanski are seniors at West High School in Wausau. Both are on vacation from school. So what are they doing with books and notes?
We were kind of thinking maybe in our platform we could put something about more privatization, because that's what he's a private company. Sure. We could talk about that. But
what they're doing isn't schoolwork. Rick and Scott are planning campaign strategy. Rick Thomas is running for mayor of Wausau. He may only be 18 years old, but Rick already knows how to get votes.
Hello, my name is Rick Thomas. I don't know if you've heard, I'm seeking nomination for mayor of Wausau. I'd like to know if you'd like to sign my nomination papers and maybe talk for a minute. Okay.
Rick's getting residents here to sign his campaign petition so he can get his name on the spring ballot. So far, he's doing pretty well, putting in his miles, ringing lots of doorbells, and running into folks who already spot him as kid candidate.
The guy that's going to run for
I'm
mayor?
the guy running for mayor.
Oh, you know one thing, you're too young yet.
Well, I'm 18. I'm just trying to get people interested more than anything. I'm really not trying to win so much.
That I know.
Rick's running for mayor because he wants young adults to become more involved in politics, and he wants them to get out and vote.
There's not enough people voting, especially young people. We're kind of taking advantage politically because we don't vote. And so I decided to run, get people interested. Get 18-year-olds and older, up to like 25 or so, people interested in getting out and voting, because now they have a reason to want to vote. I don't care so much that they vote for me, but that they do go out and vote.
He knows his chances of winning are slim, but still, Rick's out there pounding the pavement. All the work, he says, is worth it.
It's a lot more than I bargained for, but I think it's worth it. In the long run, it will be. I can look back and go, I did this, I met people, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
If Rick Thomas should win, he'll have one big decision to make right off the bat, whether to become mayor or go to college in the fall. Stay tuned. For Sunrise, Eric Olson, News 11, the Wisconsin Bureau.
4 others besides Rick Thomas are running for mayor of Wausau. If they all get their petition papers in on time, they'll square off in the February primary.
A 6-year-old girl who received the first bone marrow transplant through a national registry has developed a disease, but doctors say that may not be a bad sign. Brooke Ward was hospitalized in Seattle 2 weeks ago after the life-saving transplant. A computer at the National Registry in St. Paul helped find a donor. Since then, Brooke has developed a disease that may reject the new marrow. However, doctors say it could be a good sign that she's recovering from the leukemia. There's a double amount of activity going on at the maternity ward at St. Paul's Children's Hospital. That's because 5 sets of twins have been born since yesterday afternoon. That brings the number of twins delivered at the hospital to 60 this year. Hospital officials are checking to see if 5 twins in 2 days is a record.
And if that's not a record, it has to be close.
It has to be close. I saw the cut in the paper. I was reading the paper this morning. They had all 10 kids lined up.
Is that
on
right?
the page. Is real
kind of an elite fraternity.
That's right.
Okay, thanks, you two. And up next on Sunrise, a former First Lady is hospitalized overnight. We'll be right back.
The after Christmas sale goes on right through New Year's Day right here at Burnsville Nissan on Buck Hill Road. 66 bucks still delivers. Come on in, make the hottest deal of 1987. Look here, a 1985 LTD wagon or this 1985 Lancer. Now, you come on in today and you take them home for $66 down, $106 a month, or only $42.66. 1987 affordability after Christmas sale going on here today at Burnsville Nissan.
Hi, I'm Joan Steffen. There is no good time to be told about a child's disability, but there is a best time, as early as possible. Courage Center's early intervention and treatment services bring families and specialists together. Their goal is to evaluate and make recommendations for children who may be at risk. Programs can then be tailored to meet individual needs using Courage Center resources. It takes courage to realize that a disabled child needs help. Call now with your pledge, 593-9211.
Announcing in her first Twin Cities concert ever, the incomparable Julie Andrews.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
See Julie Andrews in concert Wednesday, February 10th at Northrop Auditorium.
Oh, so baby, the jazz hot.
Tickets available at all Dayton's ticket outlets. Charge by phone, 375-2987. Order now. Good seats still available.
Sunrise time now, 6:42.
Gil Amundsen here now with World Rep, and he says our space program has suffered some setbacks.
Amy, it started with a fire. A fifth worker has now died from a fire at a missile plant in Utah. An explosion started a fire that burned 100,000 gallons of rocket fuel. The blast blew out the walls of the building where missiles are made. Officials still do not know what caused the blast. And more trouble for NASA. Last week's test firing of the shuttle booster rocket appeared to go well until they checked the rocket later and found that an important part fell off inside the exhaust system. The shuttle was set for launch in June, but that will be delayed. The Russians, meantime, were having a space success. Cosmonaut Yuri Romanenko came back to Earth after almost a year in space, a new endurance record. Yuri offered the understatement of the year when he said he is glad to be back. Investigators are still looking for a motive in one of the country's worst mass killings ever. Dan Molina reports from Russellville, Arkansas.
Lawmen in central Arkansas now feel they have found all the bodies allegedly left behind by R. Gene Simmons. Simmons has gone before a judge, charged with 2 murders. Charges on the remaining 14 killings are expected to be filed later. In the meantime, Simmons has been committed to a state mental hospital for observation. One of the 2 people killed in his Russellville shooting spree was a woman, someone who police say spurned Simmons' advances. 14 of those found dead in or near his home were family members, a wife, children, grandchildren. Law officers don't know what to make of that. Sheriff Jim Bolin.
We have come up with nothing to indicate at this time that the man has ever been any kind of a problem anywhere. He's just a very quiet, from what I hear, easygoing, loner type person.
Simmons has yet to speak since the shooting. His only communication with authorities has been through nodding. Dan Molina, NBC News, Russellville, Arkansas.
Records show that in 1981, Simmons was charged with 3 counts of incest. The trials continue for Arab demonstrators arrested by Israel in the occupied territories. They continue despite the threat of more violence and charges by Washington. The Israelis are handling the situation with too much violence. In the headlines, Iraq says its warplanes attacked a tanker off the coast of Iran, breaking a 4-day lull in such strikes. Former First Lady Betty Ford was taken to a hospital overnight, recovering from bypass surgery. Apparently, her sutures were bleeding. President Reagan, vacationing in California, will sign a few bills today. And Watergate burglar G. Gordon Liddy saw a pickup truck near his Washington home. Waving a billy club, he told 2 men in the truck to get out. They backed at Libby, who jumped away but took out a taillight with the club. The truck picked up speed, hit Liddy, causing a broken arm, broken rib, ruptured kidney, and injured a knee. From his hospital bed, Liddy said a normal person would be dead. But as you know, I don't fall into that category. Don't you love it?
Kind of a tough guy.
And it hurt came from the young cop who investigated. He wrote Mr. Libby. He didn't know him.
He had no idea who he was. That's a wild story. Thanks, Gil.
Still to come on Sunrise, the North Stars try to gain ground when they take on Chicago tonight.
And we'll make our coffee quiz call next. Stay with us.
Year-end blowout at your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers. Huge savings on new 88 Pontiacs. New lower sticker prices on Grand Am, one of the best-selling cars in the country. Air conditioning at no extra charge or cash back on Pontiac 6000, Bonneville, Firebird, or Fiero. Factory savings up to $1,675. Plus, save even more with huge dealer discounts. Best of all, Pontiac prices start at just $59.95. Year-end blowout. See your Greater Metropolitan Pontiac dealers now.
It's Alaskan Fur's after Christmas sale, and now our everyday low fur prices are reduced even further. A fur selection and prices like you've never seen before. Designer names like Oscar de la Renta, Adolfo, Christian Dior, and many more are on sale below our everyday low prices. Come select the fur of your choice at our new salon at 7808 Normandale, the intersection of 494 and 100 Highway in Bloomington. Hurry in, because this incredible sale ends December 31st.
Amber's $1.99 jumbo breakfast. 2 farm fresh eggs, 2 buttermilk pancakes, 2 country sausage links, and 2 strips of hardwood cured bacon, only $1.99. Embers, big taste, small check.
Hi, I'm Joan Steffend. The Therapeutic Recreation Program at Courage Center combines rehabilitation and fun in very creative ways. Participants choose from a wide variety of activities. With slight adaptations of methods and equipment, disabled people participate in and benefit from water sports, team competition, and individual activities. It takes courage to try new and challenging rec activities. Operators are standing by right now to take your Courage Center pledge. Call 593-9211.
Sunrise time now, 6:47. Recapping our top stories, an apartment fire in Eagan forces residents out in the cold overnight.
Officials say the fire was started by a Christmas tree that had apparently dried out. Firefighters were called to the Bunker Hills apartments around 3 this morning. Residents huddled in garages and cars to escape the cold winds. The fire was contained to one lower-level apartment. No one was hurt, but one family is homeless.
The Minneapolis City Council will decide today how to proceed with the revocation of the liquor license of a Hennepin Avenue bar. Police have been called to Moby Dick's more than any other bar in the city. A week ago, police showed off weapons recovered in a December 18th raid on Moby Dick's. Police officials want the liquor license to be revoked as soon as possible. A final decision may not be made until mid-January.
Drinking water in 6 Minnesota communities contains radium levels that exceed federal standards. Those are the findings after a year of testing. Residents of Howard Lake, just one of the towns affected, say they are somewhat concerned, and some are drinking bottled water. Some residents have questions since there is little known about radium's long-term effects. Other cities include Savage, New Market, Jordan, Cortland, and Elan.
While much of the country is digging out from snow, those seeking relief are flocking to Disney World in Florida. The parking lots in Orlando are jammed to full capacity with holiday travelers. But temperatures that had been averaging 80 degrees dropped to just 65 yesterday. Too bad, right?
I've been kind of enjoying watching everybody else in the country get it while we were, enjoying nice weather, but that's about to change.
It's about to change. We're about to get ours as far as the cold weather goes. A little bit of snow on the way, too, with the big winter storm, and we'll talk about that in a second. First, let's go outside where Andre is going to help out his friend bury the winds over the next couple days.
Yeah, I'm preparing him here, throwing a little cement on the bottom of our bunny. Well, after all, I was so mean to him yesterday by burying him in snow, I thought I'd help him out a little bit. And with any kind of luck, he'll stay put. We'll check on him tomorrow. But in the meantime, let's see what's going on right now. Just a few clouds around. Jafka, 19 degrees, with a southeast wind at 3 miles per hour. We're on the line this morning with Diane Johnson. She's from Cottage Grove. And Diane, here's your Weather Couple Coffee Quiz question. What is zastrugi? Is it A, ice formed by a waterfall, B, another term for tsunami, C, wind ripples on fresh snow cover, or D, snow that looks like fettuccine? You can probably rule 2 of those out if you look closely. Diane, what's your answer this morning?
Wind ripples on fresh snow cover.
Guess what, Diane? You just won yourself $111. That's exactly right. Zastrugi is the term used for the rippling effect like sandbar seen on the surface of snow cover caused by strong winds. And the ripples are usually angled perpendicular to the wind. Good job, Diane.
Thank you.
Have yourself a very, very happy holiday, and what a great way to start off a new year.
Sure is.
All right, stay on the line. We'll let you know how you can claim your prize. If you'd like to join the Weather Couple Coffee Quiz, get your postcard into us today. The address is Weather Couple Coffee Quiz, Post Office Box 111, Minneapolis 55440. Sally, I think I should ready myself up and maybe stick myself up to the Weather Couple Coffee Quiz box here.
Pace yourself down. The wind is coming.
Anchor myself down. I'll be here tomorrow, but I'll be hanging on to something, I think.
You bet. In fact, the wind chill's already a little bit on the nippy side this morning. Despite the fact temperatures are in the 20s, the winds kicking out of the southwest at up to 20 miles an hour, out producing wind chills in the southeastern portion of the state of 15 degrees below or less. About 10 degrees below up in the northwestern section of North Dakota. That's where the cold front has just come through. This will be barreling through here later on towards the evening hours. Ahead of that front, it wouldn't be impossible to see a little bit of freezing drizzle. Behind the front, though, will change quickly over to some snow. We could see brief clearing after that, but then more snow, basically just some winter weather on the way. The map for this afternoon shows an increase in the cloud cover. Again, maybe some patchy freezing drizzle. Later on tonight, it turns to snow. It will be very cold. Here's our forecast for today. Not bad today temperature-wise, 30 degrees, although it's going to feel on the raw side with those winds. Still pretty stiff out of the south. Later on tonight, dropping to 13 degrees, wind chills well below zero. We'll pick up a few inches of snow, and tomorrow, flurries continue. It will be windy. High of 13 early in the day, falling into the single digits. And that wind chill will be nasty tomorrow. We'll give you an update later on.
It's kind of an annoying little arrow next to the 13.
Yeah, see that
down.
Arrow pointing down. Look out.
Thanks, Sally. A group of hockey players stranded at Twin Cities International Airport were finally able to leave last night. The team from Colorado Springs waited to board a flight for Denver. They had been stuck here since Sunday when Denver's airport closed during a snowstorm. Other passengers aren't so lucky, but most airlines say travelers should be home by New Year's.
And Steve is in now with sports. What you got for us?
Well, the football is kind of a hot topic now with the bowl games. And, of course, the Vikings. It is back to work today for the playoff-bound Minnesota Vikings. They have 3 more practices before leaving for Sunday's showdown against New Orleans. Now, this is the Vikings' 13th year they have made it to the playoffs. And over the years, their postseason record is only 10-13. That, of course, includes 4 Super Bowl losses. Game time Sunday at the Superdome is 11:30. At the Liberty Bowl last 17. The North Stars will be busy the next couple of nights. They play the Blackhawks in a home-and-home series starting tonight in Chicago. The rematch is tomorrow night at Met Center. Now, these 2 games will help determine who will start the new year in last place in the North Division. Right now, the Hawks are a point better than Minnesota. Game time is 7:30, and we'll have highlights for you tonight at 10 o'clock. At the Met Center last night, Jefferson beat Minnetonka 4-3 to win the Edina Hockey Classic. The top-ranked Jaguars battled back from 2 goals down to win it. The game winner scored right there by Doug Lindow on the breakaway. Jefferson goes on to beat Minnetonka 4-3. The Jaguars remain unbeaten at 9-0. The Skippers dropped to 5-2. Well, finally this morning, over the holiday break, I discovered that an indoor hockey rink can be a great place to babysit your kids. I took my 2 boys for a little spin around the ice rink the other day. Now, 4-year-old David, he's just starting to get the hang of this skating business as he motors around for a while. But you know when he gets out of line, you know what happens? I was off to the penalty box for a little tyke, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. You can tell he's no stranger to the sin bin, huh? Just kidding, of course. Now, as far as 1-year-old Paul is concerned, well, this was his first time on skates, so he's a little bit rough. You need a little extra time to learn the ropes of playing hockey. And being the great dad I am, I'm really a great dad, aren't I? I had to show him the finer points of the game, how to get checked into the gore, into the boards, and not get hurt. He didn't even cry. Can you believe that?
One of these days, Daddy's going to check you into the boards.
Get over the fight, he'll pound me right through the ice.
You should even throw in the penalty box.
I should, yeah. Unsportsmanlike conduct on my behalf.
Cute kids. Thanks, Steve.
Still to come on Sunrise, we're to see some free Disney movies today.
And details about winter bird watching. Daybook is next.
Menards invites you to start the new year with a Stanley. Stanley garage door openers are on sale now for security and convenience at your fingertips. Save on the half-horsepower deluxe model. It has changeable security codes, time delay lighting, and more. Now just $128. Plus, get a free second transmitter direct from Stanley. That Stanley opener's on sale at Menards.
We're helping you build America's heartland at Menards.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
We're getting ready for Town and Country Dodge's year-end clearance sale.
And what are you guys doing?
We're getting ready for Town and Country Dodge year-end clearance sale.
How come?
Because he said so.
As Lee Iacocca would say, if you can get a better deal than a Town & Country Dodge, take it. We're easy to find, Town & Country Dodge, 1 mile east of 494 on Highway 7 in Hopkins. Town & Country Dodge, 935-3371.
Hi, I'm Amy Powell. You're probably aware of Camp Courage and how it brings camping experience to hundreds of disabled kids and adults. But did you know that the program has expanded to include 10 specialized camping sessions? They range from a disabled youth sports camp to sessions for children with cancer and severe burns. These camps provide unique experiences for individuals with special needs. Your contribution helps Camp Courage keep going and growing. Call now at 593-9211. I really changed my clothes fast, don't I?
You sure did.
Time now, 6:56. This morning in the Daybook, some classic movies for children.
Joan Anderson is in the newsroom with details. Hi, Joan.
Hi, Joan.
Good morning, John and Amy. It's a day of Disney today. The Great Mouse Detective is being shown free for children and their families at the West Tonka Community Library. The 72-minute film tells of the adventures of a mouse version of Sherlock Holmes. Showtimes are at 1 and 3 this afternoon. And at the Rockford Road Library, you can see Something from Out of This World. It's the Disney film The Cat from Outer Space. And the movie will be shown 3 times today at 10:30 this morning, 2 and 7 p.m. You can call 533-5010 for more information. And finally, winter bird watchers, here's your chance to see 15 to 20 species. The James Ford Bell Museum of Natural History is sponsoring a day of exciting winter birding around Duluth. Some sights will include snowy owls, peregrine falcons, red poles, crossbills, and Bohemian waxwings. Paid registration deadline is tomorrow, and the trip is being held on Saturday, January 16th. And you can call 624-1852 for more details. Now let's go back to the studio in sports. Steve?
All right, Joe, busy night in sports. Strikers, North Stars, and Gopher basketball team all in action. All 3 teams, by the way, working on winning streaks. Sally?
Steve, 19 degrees this morning. We'll have sunshine for a good portion of the day, but the clouds will be rolling in ahead of that storm system. 30 degrees, it won't feel that warm with some pretty stiff winds out of the south. Later on tonight, dropping into the lower teens, wind chills well below 0.
Okay, very good. Not very good. That's cool.
That'll do it for us today.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
New customers will come into the store and they're really surprised at the different lines that we have. It's not just nuts and bolts.
Save during our store-wide sale on this sharp 10-digit printing calculator. Full 4-key memory. Battery or AC powered, only $39.99. Stock up on quality Maxell videotape. Great color reproduction and superb sound, only $3.88 at your hometown coast-to-coast store.
America's Total Hardware Stores, coast to coast.
There's only 1 day left for your Chrysler Plymouth dealer Super 7 sale. Get our best savings ever on our most popular 87 Chryslers. 7/7 financing plus 770 cash back plus 770 protection. What super savings? 7/7 financing plus 770 cash back. It's our final sale of the year. Hurry, because it's 6 p.m. December 31st. It's all over.
Hurry in today to the Super 7 sale at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
I'm Diana Pierce. Courage Center is a unique nonprofit organization serving physically and sensory disabled children and adults. It offers more than 70 rehabilitation and independent living programs. Its goal is to maximize independence, personal responsibility, self-esteem, and dignity for disabled people. Courage Center also promotes public awareness of the abilities and needs of people who have disabilities. Please call now with your Courage Center pledge, 593-9211.